I was on my knees at my own anniversary party, surrounded by 100 guests, forced to apologize for something I didn't do, while she stood over me, smirking. My husband? He demanded it. But then someone walked through that door, and everyone in that room went silent. Before we start, if you love stories about karma, justice, and women who rise above betrayal, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Now let me tell you how my perfect marriage became my worst nightmare. My name is Diana Matthews, and 5 years ago, I thought I had found my fairy tale. I was 27, building my fashion design business from the ground up, and I met Trevor at a charity gala. He was charming, successful, and he pursued me like I was the only woman in the world. Trevor Matthews, the real estate developer who was making millions turning old warehouses into luxury apartments. He wasn't just wealthy, he had ambition, drive, and he made me feel like I mattered. We got married a year later in a ceremony that made the society pages. My father walked me down the aisle with tears in his eyes, and I remember thinking this was it. This was the life I had worked so hard for. My own fashion line was taking off, Trevor's business was booming, and we bought this incredible penthouse overlooking the city. From the outside, we looked like the power couple everyone wanted to be, but somewhere around year 3, things started to shift. Trevor started coming home later. Business dinners became overnight trips. When I'd ask about his day, I'd get one-word answers. And then she showed up. Lauren Pierce. 28 years old, blonde, beautiful, and according to Trevor, absolutely essential to his business as his new executive assistant. The first time I met her, my gut twisted. You know that feeling when you just know something isn't right? That was it. The way she looked at him, the way she touched his arm when she talked, the way he smiled at her, a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I tried talking to Trevor about it, big mistake. He called me paranoid, insecure, jealous. He said I was letting my imagination run wild and that I was embarrassing myself. He made me feel crazy for trusting my own instincts, so I stopped bringing it up. I threw myself into my work, tried to be the perfect wife, and pretended everything was fine. But it wasn't fine. And deep down, I knew it. Our 5th anniversary was coming up, and despite everything, I wanted to believe we could fix this. Trevor suggested throwing a big party, and I agreed. Maybe a celebration would remind us of what we had, right? So we planned this massive event at the Grand Sterling Hotel. Black tie, full ballroom, 150 guests, business partners, politicians, high society people, and both our families. I spent weeks planning every detail. I had a custom gown made, midnight blue with gold accents, something that would make me feel beautiful and confident. I needed that confidence because I knew she would be there. The night of the party arrived and the ballroom looked like something out of a magazine. Crystal chandeliers, white roses everywhere, champagne flowing. I stood at the entrance with Trevor, greeting guests, playing the role of the happy couple. His mother Barbara was there, always kind to me. His brother Kyle came too, though he barely looked at me. And then Lauren arrived. She walked in wearing a dress that was entirely too revealing for the occasion, but what caught everyone's attention was the necklace. This massive diamond necklace that sparkled under the lights like it cost more than most people's cars. She made sure everyone saw it too, walking around, touching it, letting it catch the light. At one point, she walked right past me and said loud enough for others to hear, "Trevor has such generous bonuses for loyal employees." The emphasis on loyal felt like a slap. I held my head high and kept playing hostess. I wasn't going to let her ruin this night. But I noticed things. The way Trevor's eyes followed her across the room, the way she would whisper in his ear and he would laugh, the way his hand lingered on her lower back when they talked. Barbara noticed too. She caught my eye at one point and gave me this sad, sympathetic look that somehow made everything worse. About 2 hours into the party, everything fell apart. Lauren was standing near the dessert table, surrounded by a group of Trevor's business associates, when she suddenly gasped and grabbed her neck. Her voice carried across the room, "My necklace, it's gone!" People stopped talking. The music seemed quieter. She was making a scene and she knew exactly what she was doing. Trevor rushed over immediately. Hotel security was called. They checked the bathrooms, the coat room, under tables. Nothing. Lauren was crying now, real tears streaming down her face, ruining her makeup. She kept saying it was her grandmother's necklace, worth $50,000, irreplaceable. And then her eyes landed on me. I was standing about 10 feet away, and I watched as her expression changed. She pointed right at me and said, "She was near me earlier. I felt my necklace loosen when she bumped into me." The entire room turned to look at me. I felt my face get hot. My heart started racing. "What? I didn't touch you. I haven't been anywhere near you all night." But Trevor was already walking toward me, and his face wasn't the face of a husband ready to defend his wife. It was the face of a man who had already made up his mind. "Diana, just tell the truth," he said, his voice low but firm. "Did you take it?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own husband, in front of all these people, was accusing me of theft. "Trevor, I didn't take anything. Why would I?" But he wasn't listening. Kyle stepped forward and grabbed my purse right out of my hands. He dumped it on a table, wallet, phone, lipstick, keys, but no necklace. I thought that would be the end of it, but Lauren wasn't done. "Check the coat room," she said, still crying. "Check her coat." The hotel manager brought out my coat, the long black one I had worn in. Trevor took it from him and started checking the pockets. I watched his hand go into the right pocket and stop. His expression changed. He pulled out the necklace slowly, holding it up for everyone to see. The room erupted in whispers. Phones came out. People were recording. And I just stood there, frozen. Because I knew I didn't put that there. "I didn't do this," I said, my voice shaking. "Someone planted that. I never touched that necklace." But no one was listening. Lauren was sobbing harder now, playing the victim perfectly. Trevor's mother tried to speak up. "Trevor, maybe there's an explanation." But he cut her off. "Stay out of this, Mother." He turned to me, and I barely recognized the man standing in front of me. "You will apologize, right now." "I'm not apologizing for something I didn't do," I said, trying to keep my voice steady even though I was shaking. "Trevor, please, you know me. You know I wouldn't." He grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in hard enough to hurt. "Apologize on your knees, or I'm calling the police right here, right now, and you can explain it to them instead." I looked around the room, 150 people staring at me, phones pointed at me, Lauren standing there with that smirk barely hidden behind her tears, Barbara with her hand over her mouth, and Trevor, the man I had loved, trusted, built a life with, looking at me like I was nothing. "Trevor, please don't do this," I whispered. "Kneel, now." I felt my legs give out, not because I wanted to kneel, but because I didn't know what else to do. I was trapped. If I refused, he'd call the police, I'd be arrested in front of everyone, my career would be over, my reputation destroyed. So I lowered myself down, my knees hitting the cold marble floor, my expensive gown pooling around me. The room went completely silent except for the sound of camera phones clicking. Lauren stepped closer, standing right over me. "Say it loud enough for everyone to hear," Trevor demanded. I opened my mouth, tears streaming down my face, my voice barely above a whisper. I apologize for..." I couldn't finish. This wasn't right. This wasn't who I was. My father's voice echoed in my head, something he had told me when I was a little girl. "Never let anyone make you less than you are, baby girl. You bow to no one but God." But here I was, on my knees, about to apologize for a crime I didn't commit because the man who promised to love and protect me was forcing me to keep going, Lauren said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Tell everyone you're a thief." I took a breath, ready to just get it over with, when the ballroom doors burst open. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. Everyone turned. 2 security guards entered first, then the hotel manager looking absolutely panicked, and then him, my father. William Hart walked into that ballroom like he owned it, and in that moment, I realized he probably did. He was 65 but looked like he could command an army tall, distinguished, wearing a perfectly tailored suit, with an expression on his face that made grown men step back. The entire room went silent, not the tense silence from before, but the kind of silence that happens when someone important enters and everyone knows it. I was still on my knees, tears on my face, and when our eyes met I saw something I had never seen before in my father's eyes: rage. Pure, controlled, terrifying rage. "Daddy?" My voice cracked. He walked through the crowd and people literally moved out of his way. He came straight to me, helped me to my feet with gentle hands, and wiped the tears from my face with his handkerchief. "I'm here now, baby girl," he said softly. Then he turned to face Trevor and Lauren, and his voice changed completely. Cold. Authoritative, dangerous. "I came here tonight to celebrate my daughter's anniversary," he said, his voice carrying across the entire ballroom. "But I walked into something very interesting instead." Trevor had gone completely pale. He was staring at my father like he had seen a ghost. "Sir, there's been a misunderstanding." My father held up one hand, and Trevor stopped talking immediately. "Let me tell you what I understand," my father continued. 3 weeks ago, my daughter called me. She was upset. She told me she thought her husband was cheating. She told me about a woman named Lauren Pierce. So I did what any father would do. I looked into it. He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and the hotel's large display screens lit up with security footage, clear as day, showing Lauren in the coat room, taking the necklace off her own neck and placing it carefully into my coat pocket. The timestamp showed it was from just 30 minutes ago. The room erupted. People were gasping, talking, pointing. Lauren's face went from smug to panicked in seconds. I didn't. Someone edited that." But my father wasn't done. "I also have financial records showing that necklace was purchased 2 weeks ago. Not a family heirloom. And here's the interesting part. You filed an insurance claim on a similar necklace 6 months ago, claimed it was stolen. This is insurance fraud, Miss Pierce." Trevor tried to step forward. "Mr. Hart, I had no idea she was planning." My father's laugh was bitter. "Don't insult my intelligence, Mr. Matthews. I have the text messages between you two, planning this whole thing. You wanted to break my daughter down, humiliate her publicly so she'd be easier to divorce. You wanted to take half of everything she built while paying her nothing because she'd be too ashamed to fight back." The gasps got louder. Barbara pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face, and hugged me tight. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry for what my son became." The hotel manager was sweating, nervously wringing his hands. "Mr. Hart, sir, if we had known—" My father waved him off and turned to face the crowd. "For those of you who don't know me, my name is William Hart. I'm a federal judge for the district court. I'm also the chairman of Hart Capital Investments. I watched as recognition dawned on face after face. Hart Capital was one of the biggest investment firms in the state. They funded half the real estate developments in the city. Including Trevor's, Mr. Matthews here built his little empire on loans from my firm. Loans that, as of right now, I'm calling in. All of them, due immediately." Trevor's face went from pale to gray. "You can't. That'll bankrupt me." "Yes," my father said simply. "It will." He pulled out his phone again and made a call. "Yes, this is Judge Hart. I need police presence at the Grand Sterling Hotel ballroom. I have evidence of insurance fraud and conspiracy." He hung up and looked at Lauren, who was now backing away slowly. "Don't bother running. There are officers at every exit." Lauren's whole demeanor changed. The fake tears turned real. The mask of the victim dropped completely. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. It was Trevor's idea. He made me do it." She was pointing at Trevor now, her voice hysterical. "He said if we could humiliate her enough, she'd sign whatever he wanted in the divorce. He promised me we'd be together." Trevor turned on her immediately. "I never promised you anything. You're a crazy—" But my father's voice cut through both of them. "Save it for your lawyers, both of you." Police officers entered the ballroom. Real ones this time, not hotel security. They walked straight to Lauren, and I watched as they put handcuffs on her wrists while reading her rights. She was screaming now, crying, her makeup running down her face in black streaks. "This isn't fair! She doesn't deserve him! She doesn't deserve any of this!" One of the officers led her out while she fought and screamed the whole way. Trevor stood there, watching his whole world collapse. His business partners were already leaving, making phone calls, probably to their lawyers to separate themselves from him. His reputation was destroyed. In the age of social media, there were probably already 50 videos uploaded of everything that just happened. He turned to me, and for the first time that night I saw real fear in his eyes. "Diana, please. We can fix this. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Please talk to your father." I looked at this man who I had loved, who I had trusted, who had just forced me to my knees in front of everyone I knew. I reached down and pulled off my wedding ring, the custom diamond ring he had proposed with 5 years ago. I held it out to him, and when he reached for it, I let it drop. It bounced once on the marble floor with a small ping that somehow everyone heard. "I'm done kneeling for you," I said. My voice was steady, now strong. "I'm done making myself smaller so you can feel bigger. I'm done pretending you didn't break every promise you made to me." Barbara was still beside me, and she squeezed my hand. "You deserve so much better than my son," she said quietly. "And I hope you know you'll always be family to me." I hugged her one more time, then my father offered me his arm. We walked through that ballroom together, my head held high while everyone watched. Not with pity this time, with respect, with awe, maybe even with a little fear. As we reached the doors, I heard Trevor call out one last time, "Diana, please." I didn't turn around. I didn't look back. I just kept walking, my father steady beside me, toward the life I deserved. The doors closed behind us, and I could still hear the chaos inside. Trevor yelling, people talking, cameras flashing. But out in the quiet hallway, my father turned to me and cupped my face in his hands like he did when I was little. "I'm so proud of you," he said. "You're stronger than you know, and no man, no matter how rich or powerful he thinks he is, will ever make you bow again." I nodded, tears flowing freely now, but these were different tears, not tears of humiliation or pain, tears of relief, of freedom, of knowing that sometimes the people who are supposed to love us will let us down, but the ones who truly do will move heaven and earth to lift us back up. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Trevor lost everything: his business, his reputation, his assets. Lauren was convicted of fraud and conspiracy. She got 18 months and a criminal record that'll follow her forever. My father made sure of that. As for me, I'm rebuilding. My fashion line is thriving. I moved into a new place, smaller, but mine. And I'm learning to trust myself again, to trust my instincts, to never ignore that voice inside that tells me when something's wrong, and that's how one humiliating moment became my freedom. My father taught me I was worth more than that, and he made sure everyone else knew it too. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to remember their worth. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done. And remember, never let anyone make you kneel for something you didn't do. You are worthy, you are enough, and you bow to no one. I'll see you in the next one.